Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we will dive into how we can integrate Stripe payment method into our web application. Stripe is one of the most popular payment processing platform that is used by millions of companies to accept payments. I will guide you through the step-by-step process of creating a checkout session, passing essential data securely to the Stripe link, and then configuring success and failure URLs for seamless transaction management. We will also explore how to retrieve critical payment data from Stripe and then store it into our database that will ensure tracking and management of the transactions. I am on the official website of Stripe. You need to create your free account on Stripe, and after creating your account, you just need to click on this dashboard button and it will redirect you to your Stripe dashboard. So this is the Stripe dashboard. Please ensure that you are using the test mode of Stripe for integrations. You need to click on this developers for integration. So it will provide you various platforms. You need to click on this API keys to get your Stripe publishable and secret key. So this is my publishable key and this is my secret key. You need to click on this reveal secret key to get your secret key, and then we can use that key in our code. So that's it from the Stripe account part. Let's jump into the VS Code for integrations. So I have already created a Flask project, and this is the boilerplate code of the Flask application that we run on the port 4242. So the first thing you need to do is to install the Stripe package. You need to run this command pip install stripe that will install the Stripe in this project. As the Stripe is already installed in my application, you need to import the Stripe at the top. So you need to import the Stripe at the top, and after that you need to provide Stripe API key. So the API key that you need to use is the key that I show you on the Stripe account, that is our Stripe secret key. So you need to pass the Stripe secret key here. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to create a Stripe checkout API. So let's create a Flask endpoint. So this is the endpoint that I will call to get the Stripe checkout session. In this API, we will create a Stripe checkout session and redirect the user to the Stripe link for payment. So how we can create a checkout session? You need to call the stripe.checkout.session.create. So you need to pass various parameters to this create method. The first parameter you need to pass is the billing address collection. So it will not ask you for the billing information on the Stripe account. So the next parameter that we need to pass is the line items. It will be an array that will take various products that the user is purchasing. So the first object will be price data. Make sure it is in single quotes. So in this price data object, we need to pass the currency, the product information, and then the unit amount. So let's pass the currency here. For now, let's suppose that we only accept payment in the USDs, and then we need to pass the product data. So the product data will be the name of the product that the user is purchasing. Let's name it as product. And the last thing it will take is the unit amount. Let's suppose it is 120. So the another parameter that you need to pass in this object is the quantity, that how many quantity of product the user is purchasing. So these are all the required parameters that you need to pass this line items array. So let's suppose it is one, the user is purchasing only one item. So outside this line items array, you need to pass the mode of payment, the success and the failure URL. So let's specify the mode is payment, the success URL. So this is the URL of your application where the Stripe will redirect the user after the successful payment, and the failure URL. So this is the URL where if there is anything wrong with the Stripe payment, the user will redirect it to this URL. So for the success URL, let's suppose that we will create an API at localhost 4242 payment and success. And similarly for the failure, we will create another API for the failure. So this will be the failure API. We will create these APIs in a bit. So this is how you will create a Stripe checkout session. Make sure to store this checkout session in some variable. Let's name it as checkout session. So the complete checkout session object will be stored in this checkout session variable. This variable contains different parameters. One of them is URL. You need to redirect the user to that URL. So after this, you need to redirect the user checkout session.url and pass the code as 303. So once the front end calls this API, it will create a checkout session object with all these information, and in the end it will redirect the user to the Stripe payment link for the payment. So let's test this out. So the application is running on this port. Now let's hit the API that will create a Stripe checkout session. So the API will be create checkout session. Okay, so the parameter name here is not failure URL, it is the cancel URL. So everything is perfect now. Let's rerun the application and then hit the API again. So as you can see, it has redirected us to the Stripe payment link. It has first created a Stripe checkout session and then take the URL of that session and redirect the user to that session. You can see the name of product here, the price of product, and the information that the user need to fill. First of all, the user need to provide the email, then the card information, cardholder name, and the country or the region. So once the user click on this pay button, the Stripe will process the payment and then redirect the user to the success URL that we will create in a while. So we can also do one more thing. Instead of asking the user to provide the email again and again, we can pre-fill this email. So you need to provide a customer email parameter here and provide the email of the user here. For now, I am providing like just test@gmail.com. Let's rerun the application and go to the URL again. So as you can see, it has pre-filled the email and it is read only, so the user can't change the email. So let's create the success and the failure URL where the user will be redirected after the payment. So now if I fill some card information here, I am just adding a test information, and once I click the pay button, Stripe will process the payment and redirect the URL to the success URL that we provided. So we need to create this success URL, and in this URL we will process the payment and then store the payment information in our DB. But before creating the API for the success URL, there is another important parameter that we can pass to this success URL. So we can pass the session ID in the query string to the success URL. So in the success API, we will know that which user has processed this payment, and from the session ID we will get all information of that session. So the Stripe allow us to pass the checkout session ID to the success URL. So we are good to go. We can create the API for the success URL. Okay, so I have pasted the APIs for the success URL and for the failure URL. So in the success API, I am getting the session ID from the query parameter and then printing that session ID. And after that, I am returning the success response that the payment is succeed. And similarly, in the failure URL, I am returning the response that the payment is failed. So let's test this out as well. So our server is running. Let's redirect to the API, that is the create checkout session. So once I click on the pay button, the Stripe will process this payment, and after that it will redirect the user to the success URL. So as you can see, Stripe has already passed the checkout session ID to in the query parameter. So let's verify this. So in our terminal, we have also received that Stripe session ID. So we can use this ID to retrieve the information of the Stripe transaction. So how we can do this? We can do this by using the stripe.checkout .session.retrieve. So to this we need to pass this session ID. Let's store this in some variable. Let's call it as checkout session. So this checkout session variable will contain all the information that the user filled on the Stripe payment link. So we can abstract many useful data from this variable. So let's get the customer email. So let's verify this last thing. Let's rerun the server again. Redirect to our URL. Fill in the information here. So we can get all these information in the success URL. For case of simplicity, I'm only getting the email and the status of payment. So you can see we have retrieved the customer email and the payment status from the checkout session ID. So we can also verify this payment by going back to our Stripe dashboard and click on this payments link. So this page will show you all the payments that the user has proceeded. So this is the payment that we have just proceeded a few minutes ago. You can also view the detail of this payment. So this is the amount that will be deducted from the user card, and you can see that the payment is succeed. So in the checkout success URL, you will get all the information and then store it in your database, and in your local application you will get to know that the user has successfully paid for this product. So in this way the complete Stripe thing will work. You can also create a Stripe webhook to verify the payment. So that's it from this Stripe integration video. Thanks for watching.